Anonymous Story Submission 7. I grew up in a Ukrainian household with deeply loving parents who adored me. I have 2 younger brothers, and from a young age, I took care of them. From the outside, my life looked perfect. At 15, I was baptized and completely in love with God. My faith was real, steady, and central to who I was. At 20, I went on a mission trip to Ukraine, where I met who I believed was the love of my life. A year later, we were married, surrounded by friends and family. The first 2 years felt good. There were small issues, but I brushed them off as a normal part of adjusting to marriage. I stayed my usual self, cheerful, hopeful, and uplifting. Then I became pregnant, and shortly after, I had my first miscarriage. 6 months later, I had another. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's when things began to change. My husband grew colder, his drinking got worse. The hardest part was that he was a functional alcoholic. To everyone else, he seemed fine. He went to work, showed up, played the role. But behind closed doors, everything was different. Every day followed the same pattern. He'd come home, sit at the computer, and drink. Meanwhile, I was working full-time, attending college, keeping the house spotless, cooking, and making sure everything was done exactly the way he expected. 3 years into our marriage, he hit me for the first time.
That's so sad. Oh my gosh. Wow.
I didn't understand what was happening. Somehow he convinced me it was my fault, and for a while I believed him. I thought I needed to do better, to do more, to fix something in myself. Oh, that's the biggest lie we believe.
That's so sad.
But as the years went on, the man I once loved became the person I feared the most. To the outside world, I kept smiling. I went to church, I led worship.
Wow.
I held on to the belief that God would change things. I told no one. I was afraid that if I spoke up, people would think badly of him. And if I forgave him, how could I expect him to do the same? I carried guilt and shame as if I had allowed this to happen. There were nights I slept in my car to stay safe.
Sad. Oh
there
my
were hospital
gosh.
visits I explained away as accidents or clumsiness. Over time, I became exhausted emotionally, physically, spiritually. I began to shut down. The abuse didn't stop, neither did the betrayal. For 2 years, he had a relationship with another woman.
What? Oh my gosh.
While still married to me, while still hurting me. I knew about her, and still I stayed. I kept praying, I kept hoping. I asked God to change him, to change me, to change something. After
so
6
sad.
miscarriages.
Wow.
After 6 miscarriages, I became pregnant again the 7th time. I thought, this is it. This has to be. During that pregnancy, everything seemed to shift. My husband left the other woman and became attentive, caring, everything I had longed for, until I lost the baby.
What the heck?
I'm so sorry. A few days later, I was told to get over it. That week, I went to worship practice. I barely made it through, but on Sunday, I stood on that stage and gave everything I had left to God, the grief, the pain, the disappointment. I told him, I will keep worshiping, but this is no longer my burden to carry. I didn't realize then how much those words would change my life. Weeks turned into months. I started rebuilding myself, going to the gym, focusing on my health, slowly finding strength again. I was still living in the same situation, but something inside of me had shifted. I knew I needed to live. Good for
Oh
you.
my gosh.
One night while I was at a friend's house, my husband called. He was drunk, very drunk. And in that moment, I knew something clearly. If I went home, I might not survive.
Wow.
So I didn't go back. That was just God telling you, That was the day I chose freedom. The day I said enough is enough. The day I stopped being a victim of my circumstances.
Oh my gosh, amen.
It has been 4 years since then. Wow. In that time, I was promoted at work, became financially independent. I went to therapy and worked through the damage that had been done. I rebuilt myself piece by piece. Good for you.
Good job. Oh my
And then I met
goodness.
the love of my life. We got married in February. Congratulations. I never imagined that surrendering everything to God, admitting I couldn't carry it anymore, would lead me here. But he did more than I could ask for. He gave me a life filled with peace, safety, and real love. Now I have a husband who honors me, supports me, and lifts me up. He loves me fully without conditions. The kind of love I grew up seeing, the kind my father showed me, is the love I now live in every day. I share this because in Slavic culture, we're often taught that marriage is our cross to bear, that if a husband is unfaithful or abusive, it must somehow be the wife's fault, but that is not the truth. We belong to a God who loves us, a God who does not want us to live in pain, fear, or silence. We are not meant to endure a life of suffering at the hands of someone else. If you are being hurt physically, emotionally, or spiritually, please know this: you are allowed to speak, you are allowed to leave, you are allowed to choose life. It is not worth losing yourself or your life trying to save someone who refuses to change.
Oh my gosh, I'm into that.
Yes, yes. Wow. What a story.
Dude, that made me like
That's amazing.
want to cry my eyes out.
That is amazing.
You know what I want to point out is how important it is when she mentioned that she became financially independent. But there's so many women are stuck in situations like this because they are not financially independent. Plus they have little kids, and to leave is almost impossible. It's possible, but it's a lot harder.
To go through that with an abusive man, physically and emotionally, and on top of that, you have to go through the trauma of miscarriage. What a beautiful redemption
I know.
story.